Good evening and welcome to Ville News. I'm Theoren Vela alongside Margareth Contreras, here to give you the latest local, state, and national headlines.
Coming up, we have the updates on Trump's recent address to Congress and the shooting scare at the NCAA All-Star Championship. Stay tuned because Ville News starts soon.
President Donald Trump gave his fifth address to a joint session of Congress and the first of his new term on March 4th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, following the heated meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and the installment of tariffs in Canada and Mexico. The speech was hit with controversy before it had even began. Multiple Democratic members of the House and Senate would either provide silent protests or boycott the event altogether. An outlier in this case was Congressman Al Green of Texas's 9th District, who interrupted Trump and rebutted the president's claim he had a mandate to cut Medicaid. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson then ordered Green's removal, and a resolution to censor him was later introduced. Green has since announced plans to file articles of impeachment against Trump, saying, quote, "The president is unfit, he should not hold the office," end quote. Multiple other Democratic politicians, including Elisa Slotkin, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, and Bernie Sanders, would give their responses to Trump's speech soon after.
An exciting event will now hold bad memories for those at the K. Bill Hutchinson Convention Center in Dallas, Texas. On the afternoon of March 1st, Dallas police responded to the possible shooting at the center where the 2025 NCAA All-Star Champion was being held. The police later confirmed on X that there has not been an active shooter, that no shots has been fired. Those noise here has been from a fight among parents where multiple poles has been knocked down, a lead to the evacuation of Convention Center. Varsity Brands, who runs to the convention, issued a statement that afternoon. That statement read, quote, "Earlier today, the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center was evacuated as the precaution based on the reporters of a safety concern. NCAA security officials immediately began working with the Dallas Police Department, quickly investigate which found that incident that triggered by altercation between two attendants, which lead to panic and multiple non-life-threatening injuries in the aftermath. We want to thank the Dallas Police Department for their help assisting and controlling the situation, as well as the first responder who assists those impacted. As precaution, we suspend activities for today and will continue to work with the event staff and local authority to ensure a safe environment for our athletes to finish competing with. We resume tomorrow," end of quote. The competition resumed the following day at 8 a.m.
When we get back, updates on measles in Pennsylvania and a very large goldfish. Ville News, we'll be right back. Measles is making a return to Pennsylvania, with the first confirmed case of 2025 reported in Montgomery County. This follows a recent uptick in cases in neighboring New Jersey, all linked to international travel. Health officials are reassuring the public, saying there's no immediate risk of an outbreak. About 94% of Pennsylvanians are vaccinated against measles, and the MMR vaccine remains 97% effective at preventing the disease. However, experts are sounding the alarm about the contagious nature of measles. Dr. Jessica Erickson, a pediatric infectious disease specialist, warned that measles can spread quickly, particularly in communities with lower vaccination rates. The virus can lead to several complications, especially in children, such as brain infections and pneumonia. While most people who received the MMR vaccine are well protected, experts say those who haven't should be cautious. If you're concerned about potential exposure, health officials recommend calling a doctor before visiting a healthcare facility, as measles spread quickly in public spaces.
On March 3rd, a goldfish found in Erie County River was determined to be a megalodon by USFISH Wildlife Service. In order to consider a megalodon, that fish will have to be considered larger than a standard size of goldfish. Researcher Corey and Chun, who discovered the fish, said that the size of the fish was, quote, "larger than his hand," end the quote. That fish and wildlife service also say that goldfish can easily multiply damaged water quality steal from food from other fish, including more dangerous habits. The government service provide a public service announcement stating that it's a crime for goldfish owners to dump their pets into the streams and rivers.
When we get back, we'll have updates on a suspicious explosive ordinance and higher education funding. Ville News, we'll be right back. In Lancaster City last night, a suspicious explosive ordnance was found inside a man's garage last night. It was a disturbing scene over on 5th Street the morning of March 5th. After residents were evacuated from their homes Wednesday morning, the whole street was taped off and homes emptied within the morning hours. Police and bomb squad arrived on the scene after a landlord of a residency on 5th Street was cleaning out a garage and later determined it was a live military ordnance. In the beginning hours of this investigation and evacuation, residents of the town were deeply frightened. The scene was cleared later and no damage was done to any property in the area. Just an overall scary situation just right here in our own backyards.
Higher education is under threat. Here's what Millersville is doing to fight against.
So the Department of Education is a federal organization that supports public education across the country. So it's everything from K-12 education, but also higher ed. And so we're out here today to talk about the impacts of potential cuts to the Department of Education and how it could really have devastating impacts on our campus community here. Right now, the things that we're really navigating are the cuts to the diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts on campus. So since the Supreme Court ruling that happened last year, which really was focused on admissions, right, but has really been broadened to impact a lot of other things. And so we're still trying to get our head around how that's going to impact some of the efforts we have on campus to really reach out and support all kinds of students on our campus. Well, one of the things we're doing here today is we're asking students to reach out to their families and for all of them to reach out to their legislators. And so reach out to their congressmen, reach out to the senators, because ultimately they're the folks who are going to play a role in making the decisions on what happens next. This is being done in relation with the American Federation of Teachers, which is organizing a nationwide, protect public education efforts. So across the country today, March 4th, we're doing efforts across the country to make sure that we raise awareness, to let people know that cuts to the Department of Education is not right. We have to protect education, we have to protect higher education. And this is one way to just raise awareness to those efforts.
That's all we have for this week for Ville News. Thanks for watching. And make sure to tune in next week for the latest local, state, and national headlines.